I hold you, in front of you, a book. I rarely report on books, but this was given to me from somebody from NASA at the American Chemical Society meeting in Chicago. And they demonstrate exactly Earth at night. They also demonstrated the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere for the last 60 years. And that what happened actually when we started getting to the point of 400 parts per million of CO2, things started going wrong, really wrong. And very likely what will happen to Earth in the next 30 years, 2050, and possibly will happen to the Earth by the time of the end of this century in 80 years, 78 years. And it's not very good. But if you want a good book for $24 from Amazon, this is a good Christmas present. It can be a coffee table, living room book, or something you think. But I will be using this as a Christmas present for ACS Christmas party in December. It's a good book. What I have gone through to it is a very good book. And you get to look at night. I saw the videotape on this, which you can download from the internet, YouTube. And you get to download and look at the forest fires around the Earth. You know, same ones, the trees that suck up the CO2 are now being killed and burned and releasing their CO2. And of course, our CO2 is going up. And as one guy said, we used to talk about population in this planet. We don't talk about population control. But the United States has a large population. They figure that they basically missed, during the last census, 10 million people. Basically, they estimated that coming by the amount of people that came across the border before 2020. A lot of them, maybe 10 million, are unaccountable for. And did they pick them on to the 2020 census because of the pandemic? No, even after the 21st one, no. Even though cities complain that, oh no, we got more people than that here. Maybe so, but the census didn't pick them up. And they figured maybe 10 million people are unaccounted for. But they did make a very good estimate. Well, let's say we know we have 350 million. We may have 360, 370 million. But they know that within the next 30 years, we're going to add possibly 100 million more people can come into this country. But I don't think it'd be that much, but they do say, well, it may not be that much, but it could be another 50 million. So we get 400 million. And they did estimate by the end of the century, okay? By the end of this century, this country, the United States of America, will have the population of 1 billion people. What? And if you think China is bad with their problems, what do you think our democracy is going to look like with 1 billion people between Mexico and Canada border? What will happen? One, you won't have any freedom. You won't have access to the internet. You may not be working a 40-hour week because half that population will have to work, so you're going to get paid 20 hours a week. Oh, I will still get paid the same salary? No, you won't. You're very likely your salary will be limited. Your housing, if you're a single person in a house, expect to have more people living in your house. If you have 4 bedrooms in your house, expect to have another family in that thing. You'll be like China was in 1980. 2 families living in a house. 3 families living in a house with 1 billion people. Congratulations. Abortion? Yes, to check the thing, you will have it. I don't care what the Republicans or the Catholic Church or anybody else says. You have to control your population. And what else would happen? They may not fight diseases. Being an old, like I am, gray hair, it might be is that you're on Social Security. If there is anything left of Social Security, you're on a fixed income. If you're making Social Security, that thing, of course, we won't be around to see that fact. But no, you'll be just like China. There will be limited amount of what you get and what you have. If you live in a big house now, you won't be living in a big house in 80 years. It will be a big house with multi-families in it. You have to house these people. There are 600,000 to 800,000 homeless people in the United States right now. You go to Los Angeles and San Francisco, you see that thing. You go to Chicago, there are small tent under viaducts and bridges, and you see these tents of homeless people. In California, there are some cities basically outlaw homeless people. You do not live in our city, you will be transferred somewhere else. And everyone coming across the border is basically homeless and penniless, doesn't have a job and will not. In the future, it might be like the movie Solex Green, where the dead is converted into green tablets, the best around. Meat. Don't call it a bad thing. You haven't understand what fish flour is? Eating of insects? And only special people get to have meat? Yes. If you think that is, well, wait, now you got over 8 billion people and you're going for 9 billion by the end of this decade. Yes, there is a problem on Earth. And you look at the Earth at Night, which is a great book. It also has a lot more information just at night. It's the war zones in Europe, the mining on this planet, the destruction of forests, which is, of course, our trees that give us oxygen. And very likely by the end of this century, the pH in our oceans and lakes might go down. And they don't know exactly how much more the oceans can take in CO2. And that is a real problem. We expect the only type of wild animals you will see will be in the zoo. The temperatures in cities will be predicted there will be sections of the country basically having 120 degrees, 130 degrees. Death Valley has hit 130 degrees. Phoenix has hit high temperatures. What's going to happen? Even if you stop producing CO2 right now, it's going to climb. 450 is not unusual by the end of the century. 500 parts per million. What will it do to the planet? Well, if you happen to live in the Corn Belt of Illinois, which they predicted by the 2050, you will see 125 degree temperatures during the day. That might be good for one day, but that dries out a lot of soil. That kills a lot of plants. You have it for a week, and everything that you have growing in the Corn Belt dies, period. Depending on, of course, what time it is. You might be able to harvest what's left of a growing crop if you got rain. Some areas like, well, right now, you look at Germany, and the rivers, the Rhine is drying up, which is affecting barge traffic. And at the same time, France is being flooded. Ouch. But that water is not flowing into the Rhine unless you're going to dig a canal and pump it into the Rhine. Forest fires, just look at the United States, look at Brazil, yes. Tropical, in the Brazil, areas are drying up and being burned for land to grow food, which can have a negative effect on rain, and it may not rain. If you get in Brazil, it doesn't rain, you got big troubles. If the monsoons don't develop, you'll get big troubles. And if you look at Europe drying out, that's food. The wine crop last year failed. I expect this year to fail. France dried out and then got soaked. A lot of that drying out in grape growing area, the topsoil has washed into the gullies, into the rivers. That's bad. You expect by 2050 for the population is in serious trouble. Right now you have 8 billion and growing. I think it's 75 million last year. You may have mass starvations because if the United States can't grow the wheat, if Canada cannot grow the wheat, if India can't grow the wheat, India has stopped, I think, rice exportation. If these countries cannot grow food, the countries right now who are starving are going to really starve. If 1 million people starve tomorrow in Africa, they expect that by 2050, your population will shrink. Not a few million will think, but tens of millions will starve each year. And there's nothing you can do about it. Harvestings of the oceans. You're basically taking all the food out of the oceans, except for the whales who are starving to death. You're harvesting krill, the same stuff the whales eat. For what? Dog food? Wow. That's awful. And as I said, Earth at Night is $24 at Amazon. It makes a good thing. It's very educational. You get to show your children Earth at Night and what we have done to the planet. And what do you mean, Earth at Night? Just look at all the lights on the planet at night. Yes! In China, before, like, what is it, 1985, 40 years ago, there wasn't any lights in China. I mean, you looked at it, maybe some along the coast. It was like North Korea. There's a big difference. You got North Korea, you got South Korea. North Korea is dark. South Korea is lit. Same thing with China. What cities are lit? 40 years ago, they were dark. You look at Africa. Those are major cities. South America, United States, and Europe. They even showed Iceland, little bitty Iceland. They showed one light. Wow, that's their city. Greenland? No. I think it was all dark. Well, oil lamps. But yes. Earth at Night, and a lot more than just that, you know. Goodbye. $24 at Amazon. Hey, remember that. It's $24.99? You're going to have to buy something else. Or is it $23? Maybe it's just $44. Maybe $23.99. And then you have to buy something else because if you want free shipping, it's always that second item they want to sell. But it's a good Christmas present. As I said, this book I got here, I am going to give it at a ACS Christmas party. Make someone happy. Oh, well, that's it. That's enough of my talking. Goodbye.